Good evening, and welcome to
Off the Plasterer.
With me, Eric the Plasterer. Hey, I hope you can hear me, guys and girls. It's hot, Mrs. I'm cooking in here, and I've got lights on and everything. And yeah, if it's one day I don't feel like doing Off the Plasterer, it's got to be today because it's too hot. But I soldier on, and yeah, thanks for coming along, guys. See what kind of an evening we have this evening, how busy it gets over the next hour or so. Yeah, what's news? We've unlocked. You got to be careful out there because a lot of teeny boppers really like clubbing it and all the rest of it. And good luck to them. And if I was young again, I would definitely be out clubbing and all the rest of it. But it's just hoping that everything goes well, guys, because I don't want to go back into any kind of lockdown. Thanks. Anyway, I'm Eric the Plasterer. Welcome to Ask the Plasterer. I'm a what am I? Oh, that's it. Yeah, I'm a plasterer from South London. I've been plastering for 36 years. I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. Tonight is for time served plasterers, it's for novices, it's for DIYers, it's for all the usual guys that come along on Ask the Plasterer, which is every other Monday at 7 o'clock. Normally goes on for about an hour and a half, purely depends how busy we get, but don't like going any longer than that because I need my dinner and I never managed to have it before. Or a nice cold shower that I'd never managed to have before that I was hoping to get tonight. But never mind, can't be too late for Ask the Plasterer. Right, I'm going to move across to what have we got here? That's better. So you can, all right, Lee, hello Eric, how's it going, fella? Mate, it's going well. Job's good. Works good still. Not enjoying it in the heat. Which any of you guys that are working in it, you know, it's at least when you're working in the winter, you can get yourself warm by getting stuck in. But in the summer, man, it's just so. When we have a little heat wave like this, we don't get them that often, but it is so hot. But I'm not complaining because it's just our summer's so short-lived, isn't it? Yeah, so I've just about been surviving the heat, mate. Get the fan on, but yeah, I've got a fan. But I ain't got one up here, and if I did, it'd probably blow all my stuff over. And me old Millennium Wheel there would probably blow away. But yeah, Zoltar, hello, mate. Nice to see you. Got a bit of a change of view tonight as well. Look, I've got the cool water feature going on again, just to cool me down a bit. I've got the latest video I posted. Look at that! I can put my hands in front of it now, but I can point. See, Trail Talk. I've finally got the new logo up, which is cool, and of course the old community on down the bottom there. Our Discord server for anyone that wants to get linked onto that and to be able to chat with me and the rest of the guys, other than when this is on, or other than just putting comments in the old comment section. Yeah, tonight is also for any customers that might want to ask any questions that are plastering related. Any guys that want to ask me that are fairly new to the trade or thinking about getting into it, whether it's still worth doing, whether the money is good or not, and yeah, anything else like that. Oh yeah, and of course you can, it's not on this page, is it? Hold on, bear with. You can phone up on this number down the bottom of the screen there. That's 07516 214 983, 07516 214 983, and you can talk to me live in the studio, yes, and get another voice on here instead of just me. Thank you. Yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, we've unlocked, so I say it's great. I haven't been anywhere apart from work and in here doing After Plasterer tonight. Still wearing the old mask if I go to Tesco's, just because I've got so used to wearing it now, and plus they want you to, don't they? But anyway, enough about that. Zoltar, had a nightmare last week. What happened, mate? Hang on, let's put my specs on. The eyesight's getting worse. Skimming over Artex, and just as I'm laying on the second, it started to come away. Yeah, and there's nothing worse, mate, than you're coating something up, and well, ceilings mostly this happens with, obviously, and suddenly you'll get a bubble, a big bubble, and that is so not good, because that means it's coming away. And it generally, if you get a big bubble when it starts to drop down, you more or less pretty good to say that that's going to happen all over the ceiling for whatever the reason is, whether it's to do with the PVA not adhering to the whatever is up there. I mean, if there's been any kind of distemper or anything on the ceiling, and you manage to get some PVA over it, it probably won't hold, which tends to mean you've got to scrub all the ceiling first, which I rarely do or have to do. But oh mate, it is a bit chronic. And then on the second one, no choice but to overboard it. What? Not at your expense, mate. I hope, is it? I mean, obviously, if you say to the customers, look, I've tried the option that I've quoted for, and it's not going to have it. So overboarding is the only other option, but obviously I can't overboard it at the same price that I've put in. I hope, Zoltar, anyway, that you didn't have to cover the cost of overboarding it, mate. Let me know. Bung something down there on the old comments. There is no way to tell if this is going to happen. That stops there, mate. Happen to. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, normally, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't happen. If you've got if your PVA has gone on really well, you've had no problem with it kind of coming back off while you're trying to put it on, then there shouldn't really be a problem. But I hope, or if sometimes if the PVA is not watered down, or if it's watered down too much, I mean, obviously you know that I put it on neat, and I know a lot of you guys do now as well, and I think you do, Zoltar, put it on neat as well and let it dry completely before you start going up there. But that was hang on, did you do Zoltar, did you put bonding coat up first, or did you do that magic mix thing, or did you just try doing a couple of coats of thick finish to cover that up, which is doable, but I never risk the thick finish thing. And although you can mix bonding in with finish to do that first coat, I've just stuck to the way I've always done it, which is a good coat of bonding, let it go off, then you know that's not going to drop back off, and then skim over the top of that. Charge the materials, and to be fair, he gave me a bit extra. Yeah, neat PVA. No, fair enough, mate. Yeah, I mean, as I say, the magic mix thing normally works because a lot of the guys kind of swear by it, and they all have different ratios. Some say 40-60, some say 50-50. But I just, I'm still, although I could, I still knock up some just neat bonding, nothing else in it. Let that set basically, and as soon as it is, I'll go back over it then with a skim. You don't need to PVA it if it's just gone off. You only have to PVA the bonding again if you're going back the next day. Yeah, mate. Yeah, because obviously if you put the bonding on, it's funny enough, I've never put bonding on and had that kind of bubble up and drop down. It has always been skimming. But that's normally been if I've gone over a ceiling that's got an issue with it, but it's not Artex, and I'm just skimming over. I've PVA'd it and I'm skimming over it. But it's not happened to me for a long time. Perhaps I've just been lucky, or perhaps you were just unlucky with that particular job, mate. But it shouldn't happen that often. As I say, if your PVA's gone on okay, as I say, I don't think the magic. Yeah, well, I suppose if you're doing the magic mix and you're putting that up, and then they're still quite wet, isn't it, when you're putting the finish on top of it? So yeah, that could give you grief. But yeah, just use bonding next time, mate. Let it go off, and then skim it if you're worried. Mark. Oh, Eddie. Hello, Eddie. Back from the pub. Oh yeah, of course. As birthday today. Oh, happy birthday, mate. What is it, 29, is it? Had a day off, back on the ceiling tomorrow. Not looking forward to it though. No, I don't blame you, mate, at all. Not sure. I think it is meant to stay quite hot the rest of this week, isn't it? Initially they said, the weekend was going to be like baking, and then it was going to calm down a little bit, but I don't think it is. I'm not for plastering anyway. Hope nobody or no one's listening is up in a loft space or anywhere like that. I was saying to one of the guys earlier, luckily the job I was doing at the end of last week, they had an air conditioning unit up on the wall, and he said, you can put that on if you want. So needless to say, I put that on. but even on Thursday and Friday, although it was nice and it was quite hot, it wasn't as hot as it's been the last couple of days, is it? But yeah, but that's rare. I think the 2 jobs in my career I've been on where they've got an air conditioning unit that's plumbed in and that you can put on. But yeah, happy birthday, Eddie, for that, mate. What was that? You can go up to the bar now and order a pint, I think, can't you? Yeah, not been to the pub yet, mate. Well, I went to the pub last week with me mate, but it was still, sit down and get served at the table. Right, Mark. Sorry, Mark. Don't matter how much PVA you put on it, if the Artex is just hanging on the ceiling, will come away. Yeah, that is very true, Mark. That's very true. If the Artex is not got a good grip up there, then it's not gonna be good. Probably happened 3 or 4 times in 15 years. Nah, that's not too bad, mate. 15 years is quite a lot of plastering. To only have it drop down 3 or 4 times. But sometimes it happens, and when it does, it's a bit gutting. And I've seen a few guys that have done skimming jobs on Troutful, funny enough, and the whole lot's just started dropping down for whatever reason. 52, Eddie. Hey, mate. You're slowly catching me up, mate. 6, you've got 6 years on you. I'll be 59 in September. I did mention that it was my birthday on the 26th of September. Yeah, if you want to send me a card. Nothing rude, mind. Diggity, evening, mate. Yeah, I'm well. I'm hot, but I'm well. Where is the beer? No, I'm on the old cherry cola again, mate. I did have a beer earlier, which was lovely because today I've not been plastering, but today I have been. It's my granddaughter's birthday in a while, so and my back garden needs a good old sort out, so we can have a party for her and invite loads of people over. And so I thought, right, to tidy my garden and my garage while I'm at it, I need a skip. So I ordered a skip. It was meant to come tomorrow, but luckily they had a cancellation. It came today, and I spent most of the day filling it up and trying to get my garden straight, ready for that. I'd rather be doing that than stuck on a job. And fortunately for me, I've got most of this week off. So I'm hoping when I go back, it'll be a bit cooler, and I won't have to suffer it. Yeah. So anyway, I did have a beer earlier while I was doing that, which was lovely. But does leave a bit of a taste in your mouth, doesn't it? After especially if you're working still as well. Whereas the old Coca-Cola is nice and sweet. And when I've done tonight and we're all done, I can have a nice cold shower, have my dinner, and have a nice cold beer. And go, I ain't got to go plastering tomorrow. Woohoo! But yeah, you guys, good luck. Good luck tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be too hot. Right, yeah, anyone else that's joined us that might not normally come along to Ask the Plasterer? I'm Eric the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer for 36 years, and I'm in South London, and I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions, and any of the other guys can answer them on screen as well. or you can ring in to the number on the screen and you can chat to me live. But yeah, I won't bite you. And if you're rubbish at typing, it's quite a good idea. But there is a time delay, so if you're watching it on the TV, you need to turn the sound down if you ring in. Lee, I'm off to the shop quick to get Sophie back in. All right, Lee, yeah, you go and grab some beer, mate. I'll definitely still be here if you're just popping up the road. The price of PVA gone up again. How much do you pay? I bought a load of it on about a month ago on Amazon. The Everbuild stuff. Particularly cheap. I think it was about £8. I normally pay a tenner for the B&Q stuff, and I bought 8 or 10 gallons of it, or 5 litre tubs to the uninitiated with old money. And yeah, so I'm not sure, mate. I haven't checked. I know everything else is going up silly. I bought some. I bought a big pack of plasterboard angle beads off of Amazon as well. 50 of them, I think it was. I can't remember what I paid now, but fairly reasonable. I've got those in my carriage because last week I popped to B&Q. They didn't have any beads at all, and I had to buy beads for those arch beads. And I've never used them before. You know, plastic arch beads that you can bend. And and now I've actually seen what they're like. I still wouldn't use them on an arch because although you can bend them, they still get this vague like kink in them as you're bending them around. And but they were the only option I had to do this job that I'd booked in. It was a get the whole room done in the day job, and because I had something else to go to the next day. And so I bought had about 4 angles to put up chimney breast and around this window, 5, and they were okay, but there was an absolute pain in the backside. I'm even trying to pull them out of the plastic wrapper. The fact that they're kind of chopped down one side, they catch on everything, and the plastic on my floor. I had to take them out of the room to cut them because they were catching on the floor, catching on each other. Horrible things. And plastic. I've never liked using plastic beads of any description, but that was okay. But fortunately, when I went back to B&Q, because someone had said to me before that, I think the old thin coat beads might be a bit of a shortage on those, which I was hoping was just a silly rumour. But that made me panic a bit, which is why I bought a big box of them off of Amazon. But the next day they did have some stock back in at B&Q, so I bought some of those as well before my box turned up. But I bought some thin coat stock beads, and in B&Q they absolutely take the mickey out of you with the price of them. £5.37 for an 8-foot stock bead, plasterboard stock bead. £5.37 for one. I had to buy 5. Basically, I spent £26 on 5 stock beads. I mean, I needed them, so I bought them. Sometimes you go to a lot of places, they either don't have them, or because they can bend and buckle so easy. If the guys that put them into the shelves and stuff, they're not very careful, or the guys that shift them around, when they get bent, they're absolutely useless to you, aren't they? So yeah, that's not so good. Let's have a change of scenery. Whew. Yeah, yeah. So that was an absolute bit of fun that I had then. Ashley, yeah, I got my beads from B&Q. Take it that's not the normal price then. I don't know. I think they have been that kind of price of late. But because I buy normal angle beads, either in a big pack or, let's just say, if you buy 50 plus from Amazon, they work out reasonable. Oh, my curtain's gone a bit funny, isn't it? But the but in there they are. Yeah, they've been that price for a while. But I was hoping they weren't going to be that expensive, but I just bought them, and then I looked at the receipt and thought, you're having a laugh. Absolutely, over £5 for one stock bead. But anyway, it's done now, and the job's finished. And yeah, I mean the thin coat stock beads, I don't have to use them that often, but just occasionally you'll get an angle where you think, yeah, I don't need to go around the corner here. So I don't want to put an angle bead on it, a normal one. So use the stock beads, but don't have to use them that often. I have to use them that often. Yeah, hi guys. Anyone that's just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. You can ask me any plastering related questions. Been a plasterer for 36 years, and yeah, it's a long time. I've been very lucky that my elbows are good, my shoulders are good, and I've got no major physical issues. Well, I've got some, but they don't affect me plastering. Thankfully. Oh dear. Eddie, how come you don't use a building merchants cheaper? Yeah, my local builders merchants, he's really good for. He does a lot of stuff that and really reasonable. But I don't think he stocks. Doesn't think he stocks angle beads, and if he did, he does tend to be a little bit more pricey on those. Although other things, he's a lot cheaper on. I bought. I'm not a plumber, but I bought. I had to do a lead to copper stopcock attachment. Lead to copper. I can't remember. There's a technical name for it, but I've forgotten it off the top of my head. And I looked at one in B&Q, and it was £36, and I thought, ooh. And in my local builders merchants, it was a tenner, and it was exactly the same. Preformed arches as well. The really nice true line preformed arches that you're going to fit into a square opening. You can get those, or a few years back when I last used one, it was about 21 quid for a door opening sized preformed arch, true line smooth arched bead. And then B&Q and other places were doing the one with a rough bead curve, which are rubbish, and it was about 35, 40 quid. And I thought, so the rubbish one was more expensive than the pucker true line one, which was mad. Chris, hello Chris. Should try Plasterer's one-stop shop online. Yeah, did you? I think you've plugged that to me before, mate. Have you, or somebody did, for materials and tools and gears? It's not your setup, is it? Oh, good luck to you if it was. But yeah, I probably will have a look at that, mate. I did used to have an account with those guys up north that ring you up and sort of say, "Oh, we got a van coming down to London," and they do really reasonable price. You know, packets of beads and scrim and you name it, they do it. But they do ring you every month and say, "Oh, do you want some more, mate?" And I said, "Well, I've got a garage full," and it's on account, so you pay it once a month. But of course, they want to flog you more, and when you're a one-man band, you can only put so much gear in your garage. I think I don't want any more. And for quite a while, I went back to just buying stuff as and when I needed it. But now I'm making sure I've got a little bit of stock again, because you can never tell what's happening. Cement's still a no-no, as far as I can find out. If you're trying to get hold of any of that, I'd hate to be a bricklayer or a floor layer or anyone that uses a lot of cement, or guys that do a lot of rendering. But then saying that, a lot of guys use the K-Rend and Monocouche and all the rest of it now, don't they? Diggy Dull, when you use a stop bead, because you don't need to go around the corner, what do you do to fill the void the stop bead leaves? I use caulk, decorator's caulk in the void on the other side. Obviously, I explained to a customer to not go around the corner. I'm going to use a stop bead on there, and then I'm going to put caulk down that edge, so when it's painted in. And most of my customers are fine with that. Well, I've never had one say, "Oh, no, I don't want you doing that." Because obviously they don't want me to go around the corner, because if I'm going to go around the corner, I'm going to have to charge them some more money. So they don't mind a bit of caulk down the upper edge. As long as once it's all painted in, it looks nice, and it's not too big a gap. Hopefully you can get it quite tight. And so you've got that thin gap there, but a little bit of caulk pushed in, wet finger down that. Yeah, it comes out a treat. Mark, tried 4 builders merchants for SBR this morning. None have any or expect any soon. Went to Melvin Clark's. There's nowhere like Melvin Clark's, mate. They do everything. In Carshalton, they have plenty and cheaper than the others. Yeah, Melvin Clark's and Mark Fisher's are brilliant. But I mean, they were better when you used to be able to buy stuff on one side and you used to be able to hop across to the other shop, get the rest of the stuff, because they do slightly different stuff in each shop. When Melvin had them both, and then guys would rather than, and then you could pay in the second shop, but of course a lot of people took the proverbial Mickey and were nicking stuff, so they had to stop that. But now, so you buy one thing in one shop and you got to cross over the road to get the other gear. But that is when I'm not ordering it online. That's where I get my plastic sheeting. That's where I get my temporary plastic sheeting from to cover the floors. Mozza, hello Mozza. Stock beads, same price at Wix. Bargain though, and the large render stainless stock beads priced at £5. Yeah, perhaps that's just what you have to pay for them now. It just seems like a lot of money for what you're getting for it. But when you need it, there's nothing you can do, is it? You got to pay and get the gear. Otherwise, you can't do the job. If you don't do the job, you don't get paid. Over it. What? Like my old Millennium Dome background there. London at its best. Yeah. Yeah. What was this job? Oh yeah, this job. My latest video was one where I've like plug in the old red dots and stuff that show through when you got the old people had one put screws or keep screws, and that was handy on this job because apart from the TV bracket, you had screws around the window for fitting a frame that holds those louver blind things you can put in, and the what else was it? Oh yeah, and the curtain rail. He asked if I could keep the holes for the curtain rail. So without the red dots, the whole lot would have been an absolute pain in the backside. But no, it was good. Chris, shouldn't use PVA for external rendering. Should use SBR instead. Yeah, but again, I've always used PVA, and that last rendering job that I put up. Okay, I'm not the best renderer in the world, but the customer was happy, and he sent me some pictures of it since with the paint on it. So, and yeah, if you can't get SBR at the minute because it is a shortage anywhere, then unless matey was just unlucky, then yeah, PVA is the solution. Dear. How are we doing? Yeah, I'm not surprised if it's a little bit quieter this evening because, to be quite honest, guys, it's so hot and because it's Freedom Day, I think a lot of guys are probably going to be going out or going down the boozer or whatever just to enjoy the experience. But yeah, I just hope it works out okay, and we don't have so many people not dying with it, but like filling up the hospitals that they have a panic on and shut anything down again. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Apart from the good bits of being sensible, but being able to do what you want to again is nice. I haven't shot off to the gym yet, but I want to go to the gym and have a swim, and at the same time, without having to book it, and just turn up. I do like a sauna as well, but I'm a little bit nervous if it is open, a heat in a sauna. If you've got quite a few other guys in there, kind of think, well, if any of them have got a touch of the old COVID, even if it's not going to make you, really bad, I don't want to get the old whatever strain's popular at the minute. So yeah, in a sauna you're probably bound to get it, but I'll see if I take the risk when I'm in there. If I'm in there and I just think, sod it, I'm going to go and have a sauna as well. If they've got it running, then we'll see. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Zoltar, are you going to bash out some sponge floating vids? No, mate, I don't sponge anything, Zoltar, apart from outdoor render as a finish to finish it off. If you get it nice, if you can get it nice and smooth, and you don't, why take a sponge to it and start messing it all up again, making it look horrible? Although you come out nice and smooth in that, it's just another process that I'd rather not do it if I don't have to. Let's face it. I mean, if you're baking hot on a job, especially at the moment, and it's got to that stage where you can just carry on as I do, you think, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna get a float on it and start putting water on and giving it all this. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of guys love doing the floating, and if you want to do that, Zoltan, then you crack on, mate. But I'm not going to do it for making the video. If I did, I'd probably mess it up. So if I did the video, I think, well, I'm not putting that up. All the guys at Sponge Float go, bloody hell, what's Eric the Plasterer doing? It's that wall. Oh dear. So sorry, mate. Michael, hi Eric. Hi Michael. Yeah, I paid £62 for a box of 50 beads last week. Oh yeah, that's not bad at all, mate. Still no beads in B&Q in South Wales. Yeah, there might be a shortage with them, as I say, because they didn't have any when I went to B&Q, so that did panic me a bit. But they did have some in the next day, but that doesn't mean that they haven't all gone, because sometimes I'll go in, they have had a one-off kind of delivery, and I think, oh no, it's fine. And then the next time I go in there, nothing. Which happened with the cement. Once there was no cement, and then I needed some for a little job I did, and it was in again, and I thought, oh great, and I bought what I needed, and then I thought, that's probably all right again now, but of course it ain't, is it? At all. So yeah, it's worth getting some from Amazon and sticking a stash of them somewhere just in case. There's a lot of jobs. I mean, you don't want to have to start putting bits of wood up and doing it the old-fashioned way. Ooh. Apart from the fact the angles aren't as strong if you knock them, or if a customer knocks them, going to chip them, aren't they? Which was the downside of not having angle beads on a plastered corner, is they're just more vulnerable. But yeah, no, £62. Oh, yeah, I'll have to check what, because the missus sorted it out for me. She said, I ordered a box, but she did tell me at the time what it was, but I can't remember. It was probably a similar price, mate, to that. Because you can pay, what is it, 10, 20, you pay B&Q, the ones they do if they do them in a tube, they're about 20 quid for 10, which is like, like the rest of their gear. The only thing that's cheap in B&Q is plaster, basically. Well, cheaper than a lot of other places you could get it. But everything else in B&Q, through the roof, 9 times out of 10. They don't do mitre glue. When I'm in there getting any gear, if I need some mitre glue, because I'm sticking a lot of beads with mitre glue these days, I'll have to go to Melvin Clark's or proper builders merchants as opposed to B&Q. But yeah, if anybody wants to ring in this evening that's watching, that hasn't typed it up in, or has never rung before, you can ring in on this number and you can chat to me live. Ask me a question, and I'll try to answer it. Yeah, cool. Or if you've got any views on any tools that you think are great or think are rubbish, you can also type something in the comments, or you can ring up and tell me about those. Give us your viewpoints on them. Anyone that's just joined us, because you can tell how many people are on, but you don't know who's new and who's just come on and who's gone off again, because I think most guys, I mean, my regulars, obviously they tend to stay the duration. Thanks, guys. But I think there must be a lot of other people that like jump in and out. I think 8 or 10 minutes. Let's face it, 8 or 10 minutes of me jabbering on. For your average person, it's got to be, yeah, I've had enough of him now. Oh dear. Do you level your beads on plasterboard or I do want to reskim. It depends if they're badly out. I mean, I can have a quick check. Where you do need to be a bit careful on some, not all the time obviously, but on some balls, Chris, is I've levelled up beads before around a window using my spirit level, and then because something is out to do with a ceiling line or whatever, it looks as wonky as hell. And I think I wish I'd kind of lined it up with everything else. So although they're not dead on the level, they look square and level around the opening. So 9 times out of 10, if it looks fairly level to me, I'll just put the beads on tight. It depends how good the plasterboarding's been done. If it's an original wall, if it's an original opening like around a window, and I look at it and I think it looks wonky, then I will obviously use the spirit level on the whatever beads I need to level them up. If I look at the original and it looks square, and I might chuck a spirit level on the edge, and it is level, I will just put the beads on tight. Yeah, that's it basically. Yep, anyone that's just joined us, mate, sorry guys, you have to listen to me say this all the time. I'm here at the Plasterer. I've been plastering for 36 years. I'm in South London, and yeah, got any questions you want to ask me? Anything you want to say about any tools, good or bad? Write a comment down, or give me a ring on the number below. 07516 214 983. What else? What else do you want to talk about? Any customers out there that are just curious, want to ask any questions? Is the place to do it. Wow, excuse me. Sometimes I can take these off and I don't see what I'm looking at, and other times I take them off and I can't. I think it just depends if I'm having a good day. It must be the heat. I think if it's really hot, I have to wear my glasses to be able to see what's on the screen. When it's not so hot, I can see all right. Oh yeah, so nice bit of cooling waterfall again. Makes me feel a bit more refreshed. A bit more refreshed. The Discord site, that is slowly getting busier, guys. So the guys that have subscribed to that recently, thank you, and nice chatting with you and having you along. And we got one of the guys from Russia, and he was showing me the gear, or the mud as they call it. Oh, hello. Well, hey. Hello, who's calling?
Hello, Eric. It's John.
Hello, John. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Warm enough for you?
Cool, mate. It's you know, I don't like moaning about the heat because it's so bloody cold most of the time, and it's peeing down with rain. So I think I'm not going to moan about it. But yeah, I'm coping, mate. As I say, luckily, most of this week I'm off. Well, I've got stuff to do in my house and in the garden and stuff. But
oh, that's good.
But what about you, mate? Are you full on at the minute, working wise?
Yes, 8 days a week at the moment.
Oh, mate. What? How old are you? If don't mind me asking.
I'm 54.
Oh, mate, and you're still like
still
going, still doing weekends and stuff like that.
Still doing weekends, yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, mate. From a money perspective, I could do with working weekends, but I just think I just can't.
I know. Well, that's exactly how I feel. But it just, you just get these knock-on jobs that you think run over and nothing really, and
no, fair enough.
Be done tomorrow, and
that's everybody, mate, isn't it? I mean, I try to plan my jobs with. I allow for the job running over a bit. So if I do have an issue, if I get a job bashed out nicely, I think, oh, that's cool. I've got a day off in between, which ain't always great, but for me, mate, I quite like it. I forget about I'm not earning any money that day. I just think, I can chill out tomorrow, get all my gear for the next job, but rushing on to the next one or whatever.
I really want to go down to 3 days a week. I do.
Oh well, that would be ideal, mate. Yeah, I wouldn't mind working.
3 days
Sorry, go on.
3 days a week. But what I found out about is
yes, mate.
With I know you don't do a great deal of it, but sand and cement render.
Yeah.
Price. I'm getting, price per meters, and I roughly priced a job the other day. It was 68 square meters.
Yeah.
And to supply and render, I went in at £45. I more or less got laughed at.
What, you thought it was too much?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't done meterage since I worked on like building sites, all for builders.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I enjoyed it at the time. I was younger, and I liked working with like a group of guys and whatever. And on big jobs, you kind of, or the ones I used to do back in the 80s and the 90s, you have so many guys on a site, you could just get lost.
You could just,
you could. Right, I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was a good lad, but you know, you could bugger off and have a 3-hour lunch, and no one would notice.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, and that was like price work, or not price work, day work or whatever.
Day work, yeah.
Or meterage, but I hated meterage work. I did. I worked for a company who did the refurb on Pentonville, donkeys back, and that was the first stint we did there. We were still getting paid like day rate, which was fine. Second lot, it was kind of like, no, you've got to do this is on a price, and you got to basically to make any money, you had to finish like 3 cells in a week. And there was neat sand and cement. You weren't allowed no additives, nothing, not even lime, in case they picked it out. Oh, I don't know, stupid idea. And they had mesh blooming bolted to the walls, to the ceilings, curved ceilings, and all that malarkey. And you had to chuck the gear through the mesh to be able to get a pricking up coat on it. And that was lost all the skin off my hands doing that, and it was a nasty job. And it just seems so pointless, mate, especially on doing the ceilings, because you think, well, above the ceiling, it's just another cell. I think who's going to dig through the ceiling? Who's going to dig through that? Exactly. And I think after that, I seriously considered doing something else at that point, which I think I tried to, but I couldn't.
Yeah, well, I did as it goes. I'd done my time as like a YTS, like 27 quid a week.
Oh, right, yeah.
Then, like, you know, I think it was late 80s when we had the big.
Oh, what
that Black Monday.
Yeah.
I had a chance to get out, and I managed to get into the print, but I always kept my hand plastering. Then last 4 years ago, I took redundancy, and now I'm back on full time again now. Right,
yeah, I suppose because the print's gone a bit downhill, hasn't it? With all the everything being online and whatever.
Going out to India and digital ads and but it's done me okay. I've done all right. But as I say, I always kept my hand in. So I always loved my plastering.
Fair dues, mate. Are you using the old speed skims and stuff, or are you just sticking with traditional?
Yeah, absolutely lovely. Absolutely love them.
I do think they're good, mate. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing it the traditional way.
Wear and tear on your joints,
well, exactly. Yeah. And it's just the fact. I mean, the last job I did that. I thought, but I did a really nice job of putting me a couple of coats on there before, rather than, because I have got a bit lazy and I've been chucking it on because I was just going to skim it off with a speed skim. But you kind of think, well, hang on a minute, mate. If you get it really nice and pretty smooth anyway, and then run the speed skim over it, it works a bloody treat.
It just takes out so much work.
Exactly. So I think, why not?
I absolutely love them. I even use them for rendering now.
Well, then my last rendering job I did, I'm not a great renderer, and I tried to avoid them because of the weather. And the job that I did book in, and I said to the bloke, I don't really do a mate, but he was a friend of a friend and all the rest of it. And at that week I was meant to do it, bucket down with rain all week. So basically I was stuffed for a week's work. And I thought, no, I'm not, I don't want to do anymore unless they're indoors.
I know, I make it right,
But it's crazy, mate, it's crazy.
No, okay. All right, well, as I say, if anyone could...
Yeah, sorry, mate. What were you saying? What you reckon you want to know what meterage people what they're charging to get work?
What sort of people are charging? I normally go online to you, but I can't seem to send any messages to you at the moment. It keeps them coming up with error.
No,
so that's why I've had to phone in. It's nice to speak to you anyway.
Yeah, no, it's nice to have someone ring in. To be honest with you, as I say, because it's just me bloody gabbling on. And everybody has to put up with it. But
we all appreciate what you're doing there. It's good.
Cheers, mate. No, I appreciate it. Thanks for ringing in. And ring in again, mate, won't you? Because it's
I will do.
It's just good. And hopefully some of the other guys or the people that don't think, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to ring in. I've got to be brave.
I mean, be brave, and he's only human.
Yeah, it's not difficult, mate.
It doesn't bite. No, it doesn't bite. No. Well, thank you ever so much, Eric.
All right, cheers, mate. Speak to you again soon.
Best. Cheers,
yeah, and you. Don't work too hard, mate. Don't work too hard. Ta-da, mate.
Try not to. Ta-da, mate.
Ta-da, mate. Oh dear. Right, who have I missed chatting? Are you going to bash out? Oh no, yeah, read that. Yeah, read that. Chris, do you leave your? Oh yeah, read that. Sorry, Chris. Is it worth joining Checker Trade or Chasters Trader, etc., for more work? Last year, or just before the lockdown, I joined Chasters Trader. At that time, it was like got to pay up front still. I think they wanted 1,100 quid, which I coughed up. It wasn't going great guns, if I'm honest with you, the work that was initially coming in from that. I was getting jobs coming in, but they were from other clients that are friend of a friend and all that kind of stuff. And just coming from different sources. And only the odd job was coming from there, which I wasn't happy with. And then the lockdown happened. Then they said they'd extend the 12 months for an extra 2 or 3 months. And when it came to renewing, they said, "Oh, you can pay it monthly now if you want." But you know, I thought, you know what? Yeah, no, I'll give it a miss. I might try Checker Trade, but at the moment, I don't know. Quite a lot of the guys have been extremely busy, and I've had a lot of stuff. I think people are just wanting to get stuff done, or for whatever reason. I don't worry about why it is. I just think, yeah, great, there's work. Let's crack on with it. Of course, while work's coming in, you don't want to be paying to get people to ring you or phone numbers, or other than what I pay for to run my website. But I mean, my website's like 25 quid a year, and I think my plasterer.org.uk, because I've had it for so long, when I got it, I think that cost me £1.50 or something stupid. I think I pay a tenner for that, yeah, like for a year. I don't think it's even that, if I'm honest. But anyway, but I'm lucky on that front. But yeah, so if work is tight and you got the money to sort of cough up, Checker Trade are doing a lot of deals at the minute about waiving a joining fee and all that stuff. And as far as I know, I don't think it's just guys that have already used them that can pay monthly. I think they've realised a lot of guys don't want to cough up over £1,000 in one hit, especially if they don't get the results they're expecting, Chris. But yeah, entirely up to you at the end of the day, mate. But when work gets tight, it is very tempting to think, you know what, I'll give them a go, even if I have to borrow the money. Not they'd want to do that. Rodney, hello, Rodney. When doing your wet trowel, do you give to? Oh, hang on, mate. Let's put it on a different screen. I've got a bit of a can't read that properly. When you do your wet trowel, do you give 2 or 1 wet trowel? I tend to. What I'm doing a lot at the minute is my first wet trowel. I'm going over with metal speed skim. I'm spraying. This is the first time I'm hitting it with water. I'm spraying it, or chucking my brush around the edges, or either or both. And then I'm running my my metal bladed speed skim over it. Recently, with my new 1200mm plastic blade speed skim, I've been doing that. And when I did it with my smaller one, because I found it was dragging, which is why I go over to the metal one, because the plastic does tend to open the surface, which is why a lot of guys use a plastic trowel at some stage, because it opens the surface up and helps it to dry a little bit quicker, if that's what you're after. Yeah, if you use a nice clean plastic bladed speed skim on a wall that you're about to trowel up, as long as you got plenty of water on it, it'll run over lovely, because I've done that on the last couple of jobs, because it was nice to be able to get that much wall with the 1200mm blade, and then finish it off with more water, yeah, but then spraying it at the bottom, drag it up the wall, and then when it runs back down this side, catch it at the bottom, drag it up the wall again, go right away across the wall, and then when that's done, I'll probably give it a dry trowel across. Sometimes I feel like I'll put a little bit of water on when I'm cross troweling it from left to right, right to left. Yeah, I put water on it more than once is a short answer to your question. Dear. Right, if you have just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer for 36 years. I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions. Any of the other guys that are here and my regulars, they can answer your questions as well. You can ring in on the that number if you want to talk to me live in the studio on 07516 214 983. Oh, man, I've got to get some new glasses. Or you can type in the comments if you're able to. If you're watching it on a TV, then you probably need to ring, because if you are watching this on a TV, I don't know how you type in the comments. So I think I've tried that before. I've been watching something on the TV and I thought, and I think, how? I don't know how on the telly. Or it takes so long to try and work it out. It's, the moment's gone. Any plastering related questions, we are here for time-served plasterers, we're here for novices, we are here for DIYers. We're here just to expand your knowledge in the field of plastering, to tell you whether or not it's a good job. It is still a great job. It's very satisfying, because you take something that looks like if it's an extension or it's a garage and someone's converting it, and as soon as you get those walls on and it starts to look like a room, and the customer's kind of like, wow, it's looking like a room, which obviously is the whole idea. But you think, it's gone from blocks and what looks like an old dungeon to something nice. Well, at least I had plastering satisfaction of like that for at least 15 years of my career before it didn't kind of cross my mind anymore. Apart from if a customer brought it up. And still, a lot of people will tell you, and it is true, that plastering is an art form, guys. It's only decorative at the end of the day. It's not really structural. It doesn't hold a building up. But I think how horrible some buildings would look if they were all brick, just brick inside. I know some walls that are brick look nice, but you wouldn't want your whole house to be brick, would you? Or like some of those people on those big build things. Not the DIY SOS ones, the other, I can't remember what it's called now. The ones where they build some stupid big house, like they've got more money than sense, but 9 times out of 10 they seem to be borrowing hundreds of thousands of pounds. They knock down the lovely small detached house they've got because they want to build something that's big enough to be a hotel. And those guys are crazy. Why I brought that up, I can't remember now. But it's an age thing. You do all aspects of plastering. When I was first plastering, Chris, I did normal solid stuff, floating and setting, dotting and dabbing and putting up plasterballs to cover a room was just hardly ever done. It was like if someone had you go to look at a brick extension, you'd float and set it with browning, bonding, do all the floating in the morning. You'd whack the gear on, rule it all off, devil it up with a devil float, and then you would skim in the afternoon everything that you'd floated in the morning. Some guys were like lightning. If you're working as a team or a couple of you, and you've got a guy knocking up the stuff, you can bash out stuff. Which of course back then doing that kind of work and working for companies and commercial enterprises, that was all done on a kind of like price work. The sweet thing about domestics is it's not an issue anymore, and you only need to bash out so much to earn a decent wage. What was I saying? Hang on, if I read your question again, I remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, and I did. I was taught how to do fibrous plastering, cornice work, that kind of stuff. Floor laying. The only floors that I ever laid were I decided against it. I've got a little video where I basically show you the rough idea of how you lay a floor with a screed with a dry mix. But it's nothing I was ever really good at. And I just and obviously we did all rendering stuff as well. But in the end, I just stuck with internal work, and I was working for some building company, and I was getting so much domestic work coming in that I was doing on weekends at the time. And the builder I was working for at the time, he wanted to pay less and less. The domestics were paying more and more. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm just going to go completely doing domestics. I'm not working on sites anymore. I'm not working for builders anymore. Some builders I'm sure are lovely. A couple of guys that are friends of mine that are builders, I'll do the odd job for them, but nothing on a regular basis. So I was taught all aspects of plastering. But and the rendering, as I said, I stopped because our weather is so unreliable. I like to be a bricklayer or something like that when it's rubbish and fucking down with rain and all this stuff. So yeah, it's mostly just solid indoor stuff now. When I tend to look at if a wall is back to brick, I tend to, my first kind of thing in my head is, oh, right, I'll float that out. And then I looked at a job some guy was doing on, might have been Trail Talk or something, and he showed you all the befores of all this whole massive corridor he was doing, and it was all brick, and I thought, cool, that's going to be a fair amount of floating. And the next minute it was all boarded, and I thought, oh, right, okay, everything's dot and dabbed now, which there's nothing wrong with it if you do a good job of it, and customers happy with that. And I suppose it dries out quicker because you've only got a skim on it at the end of the day, whereas if you're floating brick walls, the old thickness of the bonding, browning, whatever you're using, or hardwall, is going to take longer to dry. But yeah, there you go. Nice long answer to a fairly short question. I did do all aspects of plastering, but now I'm just I will still float and set, and any kind of skimming over anything internal. I'm happy to do the fibrous plastering. You're best to leave the fibrous plasterers because most of them, that's all they do, and they're expert at it. And the same with the guys that do pebble dashing. When I was working with a mate of mine, we built an extension on this couple's house. Well, it was on top of another garage, but the foundations were deep enough to do it. And the whole thing needed like re-dashing. And I could do pebble dashing, and I might do little patches of it now, but these guys, they went round the whole thing, including on top of this glass conservatory that I don't know how they got around it. I mean, we had the job scaffolded up. Evening, Matthew. Back east to his friends. But they bashed this thing out in 2-3 days, and it was beautiful, absolutely stunning. Even the places where you kind of think there's not much leverage there, and this bit where there was some scaffolding in the way, and they had to get the dashing underneath this scaffold pole, and it was pucker. And for the price they were charging, which I think even at the time I thought it's reasonable, I'd rather pay that than it take us 2 weeks to do it when these guys can do it in 3 days. And it was amazing. So I do tend to recommend people that want stuff doing on the outside, apart from telling them I don't really do anything anymore, I'll say I would go with the guys that do an awful lot of it. The guys that specialise just in exterior stuff, whack it out in no time. Whether those guys have gone over to the silicon renders now or not, I've no idea. I've not really looked into it. But yeah. Another drop of Coca-Cola. Yeah, I might have a proper beer with me dinner later on. Anyone that's just joined us, good evening. I'm Eric the Plasterer. I've been plasterer for 36 years and don't seem a day too long. And it's a great job, great career. Even now, lots of work. Getting all the plasters absolutely fine. Angle beads might be a little bit dicky at the moment, but not quite sure. But they are in Wales. If you live in Wales, you might have an issue getting angle beads. But I'm not 100% sure. Cement, if you need cement, forget it. I don't know what's happening there. Just having a laugh. I think it's Brexit itself. I've no idea. I can't get any cement. Oh dear, but there's loads of plaster, so that's good. There seems to be a lot of work out there at the minute. Yeah, so it's a great time to be a plasterer. It's a good career move. You're never too old either. Quite a couple of guys, 50 odd, I thought about giving it a go. I mean, if you're not used to doing a physical job, then and you're 50, it might be a bit of a shock to your body. But if you're a little bit overweight and you start doing it and you've not done it before and you crack on with it, you'll probably drop a few stone, especially this time of year when it's hot. But most of that is fluid, which you probably put back on with a few. Oh dear. So yeah, any plastering related questions you can ask them here. We're here for novices, for DIYers, for time served plasterers. you can leave comments on the comment section here, or you can ring into the studio on 07516 214 983 and you can talk to me. Have a slight change of scenery again. I said I managed to get the Trail Talk, the new logo up. I've been using the old one, which I think is still on the main screen when you come into the live chat. And I've done it so I can point to it without my finger disappearing. Here's me doing my thing with my 1200mm speed skim and using the dots that you can put over where screws used to be, because they want to put screws back in the same place, and to save you having to try and plaster around screws, which is doable, but if you don't have to do it, it's such a pain in the batami. So yeah, these red dot things are, and I'm not getting anything for saying that they're great. But they're a godsend. For most of the time, I'm hoping it's just the only time I need them is if someone's whopped off a radiator, they're putting the same radiator back, and I just think, yep, well, you can take those screws straight out, mate, because I've got some little dots I'm going to stick over the holes, and they just bleed through the plaster, so you can see where the hole's meant to be. And but you've got to be careful because they also bleed through paint, so it's got to be something that's going to be covered up by a bracket or something, because yeah, you don't want to put them where. Or if a customer changes their mind and doesn't want to put back whatever it is they've taken off the wall and they paint it and suddenly get these red spots that you can't cover up. You probably could if you put some oil-based undercoat over the top of them. Like with stains as well, quite a few people use stain blockers. Why stain blockers? The ones in the spray can seem to be a bit rubbish and you've got to use a whole can of it to cover a stain up. But if you just go over, it's cheaper to buy an oil-based undercoat and give it a coat of that, any stains or anything like that, and when that's gone off, over the top of that with emulsion, and normally puckaroony after that. Any other questions here? Chris, fixings into dot and dab walls instead of float and set walls wouldn't be as strong. Opinions. Yeah, anyone else got opinions on those? I know you can. I mean, I prefer if it's a floated wall, you can get a really nice fixing in the plaster and into the brickwork. You can in dot and dabbed walls, there should be a certain size gap, and you can buy all sorts of special fixings, but they don't always work that well. And I did see a video. I didn't make a note of whose it was. It wasn't a plasterer's. It was a video where basically they were showing you in a wall where you could see through it the different types of plugs to fill up voids and stuff. And obviously when you look at them on the packet, it says, oh yeah, it goes in like this. And when you screw it in, it just opens up and it's all hunky-dory. But when you watch this guy actually using all these different types of fixings in hollow walls, some of them just buckle up completely. They bend up the wrong way. And hopefully you do get some kind of fixing, but I don't know if you could rely on it or not. So my opinion is it's nicer to not have a hollow wall to get a fixing. Obviously, if it's a stud wall and it's been plasterboarded, you haven't really got much of an option, except to use something like that. Or find the studs, obviously, and screw through into the studs, which if you're trying to fix a TV bracket in a specific spot, or anything come to that matter, in a specific spot, and the studs aren't there, then yeah, it's more messing about to make sure you've got a decent fixing, because you don't want your 50-inch, not plasma now, are they? But you don't want your 50-inch TV hitting the deck because your fixings haven't quite cut it. But yeah, so my opinion, a floating set or something solid. That's the only time I don't like sand and cement indoors, because you can get a good fixing, but flipping out drilling out the cement, especially if it's a really strong mix, is yeah, not a lot of fun. If you're the guy having to drill the holes, anyway. Dear. Fixing your dot dab or stuff. Diggy Dard, do many customers ask you to put coving up? Yeah, quite a few. I do only do the gyprock cove, or gyprock. I use the super cove now, the lightweight stuff. I mean, I used to, because I did price work back in the day on a building site, on these flats over in Tower Bridge, Hooper Square, I think it was. Be old now. Yeah, it would be old. And me and another guy had so much a metre, and I think the first day we did the price on the Cove, we made about a tenner between us. But we soon got the hang of it because we had to, we were putting up like 100 metres of Cove in a day, and that was the heavy gyprock plaster stuff. So I used that when I went over to domestics, but the lightweight, not this polystyrene rubbish. Oh God, I can't bear that. But this stuff has got like polyurethane inside, and it's got exactly the same cardboard on the outside, light as a feather. And a lot of guys now stick that up with tubes of adhesive rather than knocking up any gear. And rather than use Cove adhesive, I used to knock up. I just use finish, multi-finish. Knock up a bit of that in a bucket. Cut all my gear. I've got a video of me doing coving. Just cut it all out, measure, cut it all, put it around the room, and then knock up the gear, butter it up, stick them all up, and then without rubbing or cleaning anything off. And then once I've got them all stuck up, then I'll go around. The stuff had started to dry by then, the glue or the finish, and I'll just start to trim it off top and bottom. Then I'll finish off the top and the bottom with a cork to get a nice white line on top and bottom of them. But yes, a lot of customers say, "Oh, do that kind of coving." I say, "Yeah." Or if you want it to look a bit posher, I will do the standard gyprock Cove type Cove, and I'll put like a picture rail butted up to the bottom of it along the wall, and butted up on the ceiling against it. Obviously, you have to make sure you charge for that, because to go around the room twice, which is what you're doing on the top and bottom of a Cove with wood or MDF is crystal already white, which is handy. It's quite expensive, but not as expensive as them having fibrous plaster put up. So that's all I would do: ordinary gyprock Cove, or put wood at the top and the bottom to make a feature that makes a bigger, fancier looking Cove, which might be able to see that in some of my videos. I can't remember now. I haven't done an actual video on doing it. I haven't done it for a little while. But yeah, and yeah, I mean, once you've got the knack of cutting coving and stuff, it doesn't take long to chop it up and whack it up there and finish it off. But I've noticed, or I've been told that by younger members of my extended family, that they're ripping all the coving out because it's what old people have, which made me feel really like, excuse me, I've got coving in my whole house. I think it's great, and I think it finishes off the ceiling and the wall nicely, rather than just having that square, sharp. That seems to be the in thing nowadays. I just feel sorry for the decorators that have to cut it in. But a good decorator, it's not an issue for, is it? I mean, I'm trying to cut in a square where the wall meets the ceiling, if it's a different colour, especially if it's a really darker colour than the white ceiling. Yeah, oh mate, that's a pain. That's a lot of questions, a lot of answers to just, yeah, do I get a lot of customers asking me about coving? Yeah, people that like coving, yes. Oh, I might say to them, "Oh, you're having coving in here," and they might say, "Oh, I haven't thought about it, but oh, do you do coving?" And then, yeah, if you've allowed the time to do coving as well, then that's more work, isn't it? More work, more money. Yeah. Hello, anyone that's just joined us, I'm Eric Plasterer. Been plastering for 36 years, here to answer any of your plastering related questions. We're here for DIYers and for time-served plasterers and for novices and whoever wants to do plastering or just ask questions about it. This is the place to come. I'm hoping one day, if this channel grows any bigger, that suddenly Ask the Plasterer will become a much more popular feature. Oh dear, because some guys that have got quite big channels literally just sit in their front room and talk to about 1,000 people or more. Just cash, like, they don't go to the effort I do to do all this all this kind of gear. It makes it more interesting, in my opinion, and people quite like being able to see what they're typing, like on this bit of the screen, not just you know, on the sidebar or wherever it comes up. Actually, yeah, because I can't get involved with watching this live on my phone. I'm not quite sure what it looks like. Dear. No worries, Rodney, no worries. The age thing, yeah, age is just a number. That's right, mate, that's right. If you are in good shape, yeah, if you're lucky enough to stay fit, then yeah, I mean, technically, mentally, I feel about 30, which ain't that great when you see a 30-year-old woman and think, oh, she's nice. Don't look as if you to say, oh, geezer, glancing over. But yeah, but by the by, yeah, I feel mentally, I feel about 30. Physically, I've still got corona fat around my middle at the minute, and I used to have a six-pack even for an old man. This was lovely. But yeah, I hadn't been to the gym in over a year, so and stuffed my face during lockdown. So there's anyone that has watched my rendering video, they'll see me little tyre, but which is fine. I'm not overweight by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, I like definition, and at the moment I ain't got any. My arms are all right, but yeah, below the old chest muscles, mate, it all goes pear-shaped, and I don't want to be pear-shaped. Dear. If you want to get into plastering, oh, hang on. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, cheers for that, Rodney. Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate any comments from the guys that appreciate me doing Ask the Plasterer. I say it's once a fortnight, and once I was when I was working in the garden today, well, yesterday I think I'd forgotten it was obviously only temporarily. Yesterday I'd forgotten it was Ask the Plasterer. Oh, good. It's Monday. Ask the Plasterer Monday tomorrow. And today I've just been working out in the garden thinking, oh, make sure you finish what you're doing and you give yourself enough time to have a shower and stuff before Ask the Plasterer. And yeah, I didn't, basically, the bottom line, I didn't stop what I was doing till about 6:10. And then you have to set this thing up. I thought I'll set it out first, which is probably just as well, and then I'll have a shower, because I was going to have a shower first. And then, but I'm lucky I didn't do it in that order, because it wouldn't have worked out at all. But yeah, so it's all good. I appreciate your appreciation. Oh, I got 5 likes tonight. Thanks, guys. I don't know how you. Yeah, so it's just a normal thumbs up on the bottom of the phone screen when you're doing this. Because the screen that I've got doesn't really. It shows me what you're typing up on, and how many people are watching and duration of it and all blah blah blah. But yeah, I don't know what you can or can't do via your phone. I know you can't ring me at the same time as watch me. But so I understand that. So I'm not knocking the guys that don't ring, because it's just too blooming awkward. If you're watching this on something else, on a TV or a laptop, and you can phone me on your phone separately, obviously that's a lot easier. But yeah, thanks, Rodney. I will try and keep up the good work. I will soldier on, whatever. What was that? As long as the channel keeps growing and people turn up at Ask the Plasterer, I'll keep doing it. If it ever get to a point where I'm talking to myself, then I know it's time to give it knock it on the head. But yeah. What else was it? Oh, I've bought. Quite a few of you know I bought the GoPro action camera for doing some filming. It's great for some stuff. If you're trying to get a wide angle view, like occasionally you can see on this that's from the normal camera that I normally use, but it does flick between this and the GoPro. But the GoPro I've got on a wide angle, it goes a bit fisheye, a bit curvy at the ends. But I've just got for it. You can get these for mobile phones now. Something that's called an anamorphic lens, which basically stretches. It's what they use to do cinema scope, or like when you're at the cinema and stuff, proper long screen. Rather, like if I try and do something prior to this to make it look cinematic, I can put bars at the top and the bottom, But it's basically I'm just cutting off bits of the video that you can't see. But with an anamorphic lens that I've got from my GoPro, it stretches the picture upwards, so that when you edit it, you can stretch it out, so you get a lot more in it. So I'm going to try this on my next video that I do. I'm going to try this thing out with the anamorphic lens, and hopefully you should be able to get a really nice wide shot, because the normal camera I've got, you can't film really wide on it because it's a fixed lens thing. Can't put extra lenses on that. The GoPro thing, you can get some really nice footage of it, and it is completely waterproof as well. So in one of my other videos, I think I've literally got it in a bucket and filled the bucket up with water, pouring it straight on top of the camera, and yeah, it allows you to get shots. I mean, that's the only weird shot I've done with it, but it allows you to do stuff with that like that. So hopefully, yeah, in my next videos that are coming up, they will be a little bit more interesting. Plus, I'm learning how to do things that make them a bit more exciting, so people don't have to skip through them because they're too long. It's really hard if you're trying to do a video, especially if guys are trying to learn from it. If it's too drawn out, yeah, people just don't want to watch the whole thing. But yeah, but if you make them too short, then people that are trying to learn from what you're doing, they can't really see how you do it. So it's a real kind of fine balancing act to make the videos not too long. I think an ideal video, if you can get a video up to 10 minutes tops, rather than, I mean, some of my videos, a lot of plastering videos, they run 20 minutes and longer, and yeah, I have to be really engrossed in some kind of video on YouTube to watch it for a duration that long. Though some guys do videos that just like draw you in. So I've got to practice that. That's when it is some of the jobs you're doing, you're rushing around like a blue ass fly and trying to just get the job done. And then when you think, oh, should I try and film this as well? Some days you can and you crack on with it. And other times you think, you know what, I just haven't got the time to set up the camera for this one. If it's something really different, then it's worthwhile doing. If it's just another, you know, I want to skim this big wall, and because it's a slightly different big wall, I'll film it. You kind of think, well, guys have seen me skimming a wall. There's so many skimming a wall videos out there by myself and different guys. You kind of think, you're not going to bother videoing that. Some other stuff guys asked me to do. I did have a bit of a space in my garage to set up a bit of a thing when I was doing my initial teaching videos, but you're really limited, or I'm limited for space. It'd be lovely to have a proper big kind of studio that you could set things up in, and you could basically do anything you want. But obviously, I'm like a lot of plasterers are waiting for a particular job that's interesting to crop up that I can think, oh, I can film that. That'd be interesting for the guys and girls to watch. So yeah. Right, what else we got? Have I missed anything here? Diggity. Any tips on using plastic speed skim for the first time? Yeah, just make sure you don't use it too. You keep it quite flat against the wall. When I say flat, you know what I mean. Don't have it at too much of an angle. The same way you'd hold a trowel, basically. If you have a look up on this bit there, you can see that I've got it quite flat there. If you bring it up too sharp, it will start scraping too much off, or making a horrible pattern in your plaster, and it can drag where you don't want it to drag. And I always wet the blade of my plastic speed skim. I'm not saying you definitely have to, but where I always have, I think, I better wet the blade, and it works for me. So yeah, the only things really, mate. And I don't know if it was you, Diggity, or someone else that had bought a new one and were concerned that there's like a couple of millimetre play in the blade going up and down, but that is normal, and it's on. I hadn't really noticed recently, and I thought, oh, I'll check that out. And I've got my new 1200, and it does. It goes up and down. It doesn't affect the when you're using it. Doesn't really move then. I think it's just part of the way the thing clips in and is designed, but it doesn't cause any problems whatsoever. And it is normal. There's nothing wrong with the speed skim. If anyone's worried about that. Can you see me sweating? I assume you guys are sweating as well. You're in some kind of air-conditioned luxury, or you might be out in the garden or something. You can see your phone in the sunlight. It was you, Diggity. Yeah. But yeah. So it was. Not a problem. But when you first asked it, I thought, oh, does it? I thought I'm pretty sure it did have some movement in it, but I wasn't 100% until I checked it, and I thought, oh yeah, it does go up and down a few mil. So yeah, cool. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. How are we doing for time? 2023. What's that rubbish out at 24-hour clocks? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, well, I think we've done about an hour and a half, guys, haven't we? And well, I think I'll knock it on the edge, because if it goes on for too long, less people want to watch it. And they go, blimey, what's that, a 2-hour video that's popped up? Yeah, I'll pass on that one. But if I can keep this to around an hour and a half, yeah, then that means it's still quite early, isn't it? And we can go and do anything else we want to do. I can go and have a nice cold shower and eat my dinner. And yeah, and unlike the last live stream I did, that the computer just suddenly just cut out and I just disappeared. And then I realised I'd gone on for nearly 2 hours. So if I'd have finished like in an hour and a half or so, that wouldn't have been a problem. So to save my computer in this heat, which probably don't help possibly doing that again, I am going to say thank you very much to everybody, all the regular guys, for coming along. Really appreciate your your patronage of my channel, of everything, the community, the Discord community, which is slowly growing, guys. So keep up. Yep. There's a description in all my videos, and you just click on that and on the description, and you will get sent an invite to the community. It's simple, and just follow the instructions. It's a free app on your phone, and yeah, you can do everything on there. You can chat, you can type, you can talk, you can talk via video if you want to. You ain't got to ring into it. You can just literally click on one of the buttons and listen to other people, or you can join in. Though most of us guys at the minute just tend to type because it's easier not to interrupt each other. But there's a few of you on there, and you still start talking at the same time, and then you'll stop and wait for everybody else. Yeah, it's all part of the fun. But anyway, yeah. So thanks for coming along, guys. I will look once again for the old off button, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time, Monday evening at 7 o'clock. And yeah, have a great week. Don't work too hard, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Yay.